Hi, everybody.
My phone turned off.
Good morning, everybody.
Good
morning.
Thanks for remembering the time change. Please stand for the great invocation, please. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. Make hearts return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Amen. This morning I have the old falls away, the Palladians through Sylvia Buquet. As you flow with the divine through the process of awakening, your consciousness automatically shifts to your soul's blossoming, and everything else falls away. You have nothing to fear. In fact, fear is the first thing that falls away as a side effect of letting go. Similar to a serpent releasing its old skin, you release the imprints that form the core architecture of your old skin. You are at the threshold where new doorways open and new chapters begin. In numerology, 2026 is a 10-year, which symbolizes completion. Within the circle of completion, you take stock of the past and how it relates to your future, specifically your potential rebirth for a completely reimagined cycle in which you return to your truest self in every chapter of your becoming. Your truest self, your blooming soul, always focuses on home. Each nuance of vibration gives rise to previously unseen stepping stone on your journey home as the path that brought you here incrementally fades like a dream. Until it fades completely, your dreaming self vacillates between repairing the old skin or letting it go. You might ask, how do I choose between changing course or not changing course while flowing through the process of today's changing tides? Is it possible to be aware of something I'm unconscious of? Out of the blue, the Ides of March popped into my mind, and I recalled its attached symbol of betrayal, impending doom, and the downfall of power. I wondered if this was a warning. A frisson of fear entered my mind, and I froze in my tracks. When I first sat down to channel this message from March 2026, I simply asked to open a link to Spirit of March. My psyche faced the first day of spring in the Northern Hemisphere, a time of joyous celebration, totally unaware of the gigantic leap of faith it took to be here. Last summer, I had a waking dream about this. The dream begins with a bird's eye view of a homestead, and I quickly realize the viewer is me. I see the homestead from a higher perspective with the intuitive understanding that I'm reviewing the land that is mine to develop and to live on. At one time in the United States, areas of public land, usually 160 acres, were granted to any citizen willing to settle on and farm the land for at least 5 years. Gradually, I understand why I'm not presently farming it. The land is totally submerged underwater. Looking at it from above, the floodwaters look clear and smooth like sheets of glass or ice. The water recedes and the land comes back to life. Then it floods again and everything drowns. I understand that this cycle will probably continue. It's as though I'm remembering ahead, previewing my life in a world as I know it. Am I willing to go back knowing what I know? My consciousness expands upward and outward. There is so much more to the bigger picture than at first meets the eye. The viewer in me sees that my little corner of the world was originally part of paradise. Before sinking beneath the ocean waves, it was prophesied to surface on the planet in an area that remained the best kept secret of all time until now as the veil lifts. My dreaming self seems to pass through the veil, and from this vantage point, I see that my homestead is part of a huge landmass with a brown mountain I equate to a great pyramid. Seen through the veil, the top of the mountain is shaped like the rook piece, also known as a castle or tower in the game of chess. The subtle messages is lost on me until I research it online. I learned that the game of chess represents manipulation and seduction. It belongs to the lifeless life, as it depends on numbers and cold strategies. On the other hand, chess speaks to mental clarity, as you must think first before you move. The question then becomes, how do I dismantle the link to the lifeless life before moving forward? The phrase mental acumen comes to mind. Look up the meaning online. I learned that this is the ability to make good judgment and quick decisions with keenness and sharpness of mind, especially in practical matters. When I applied this meaning to my dream, it speaks about waking up both within and beyond the matrix before withdrawing from it. It isn't until I research the meaning of rook, tower, castle, chess piece that I wake up to the message in my dream. Rook comes from the Persian word rukh, meaning chariot, a fortified war vehicle. My mind quickly shifts to the Tarot's Chariot card, 7 major arcana, which was a twofold aspect. Its duality speaks of mastership in the sense of achievement and control or power over. The latter means to bring to mind the Tarot's Tower card, 16 major arcana, which is a call to change one's life. It represents the need to leave behind old belief systems and ways of doing things that are in collapse. Interestingly, in numerology, these two cards are like the two sides of the same coin, 16, 1 plus 6 plus equals 7. In my dream, I would draw from the control paradigm, but still reside in a bigger picture in an area that I perceive as being monochromatic with neutral shades of beige and sand. It draws on me that I am not alone inside this neutral sphere. 4 of us look back. Do we want to go back into the fray, or do we want to go home? We take a vote, it's unanimous, home. We're going back to Lemuria. I now realize there are actually 5 of us, but we're waiting for the 5th to arrive. At this point in the dream, I recall my life in Lemuria. The bigger picture shows that the land is at a very high elevation, as though it rose out of the ocean over eons. I realize the 5th to join us in the community by sea. Is coming by sea, but how will I know when or where to watch for her? Even as I think this, I see her arriving in a bright red canoe. The color red is significant, and so is her arrival, as the dream alters from being mostly passive to now being active. The sea is turbulent, and she has trouble steering the boat to shore. In the end, she dives into the ocean, intending to swim to us. This final scene also introduces the color of the water, shades of blue with white crest, and to the bigger picture. The end of the dream feels like diving into deep transformation. All right, this morning we have Tim speaking for us.
Hey, thank you for that, Doug. Honorable Ted.
And the steam.
Can't forget that.
I know, if you don't toot your own horn, nobody else does. Thank you all for being here. I know most of you personally. Spirituality means a lot to me, so sometimes I get choked up. I bought a top hat for today. This is a top hat because it is a hat that sits on the top of my head. So in order to visually distract you so that you can actually learn something, I'll try to wear a hat, which I did not actually practice, so we'll see if it actually fits on my big head. All right, thank you for being here. I wanted to read just briefly. This is from a book called Jesus, My Biography by Tina Louise Spaulding. This is actually from Audrey. So this is just a short passage. You create your own fears. You create your own hell on earth through the undisciplined nature of your mind. Your mind is always galloping like a wild horse that you try to ride. You keep being thrown, and yet you get back on. It takes you to places you do not want to go. It is if you are trying to live your life riding an animal that has a will of its own, and yet this is not so! Exclamation mark. Your mind is completely trainable. Your mind is completely focusable. It's very important for you to understand this because it is your mind that is the creative force in your life. It is your mind that creates passion and emotion, and it is emotion that creates physical objects. So it was very positive. I wanted to briefly read a short passage through the book. God spoke through me to tell you to speak to him. One of the hardest things we deal with in earth is death. And the ego mind is always afraid of death because the ego mind associates itself with the body. But we know that we are energy. So yes, we are body, but we are more than body. And death is nothing more than a transformation. Death is nothing more than a door. You are all walking around in a haze of illusion. You create confusing situations that do not exist. For example, you see someone get shot. You grieve. You believe that this is tragic. You believe God is seeking that soul's punishment for his karma. We see this as a learning experience. You see this as punishment. You judge. We do not. You judge this situation to be wrong. It is not wrong. Love has a way of showing you how this works. This person is shot because he chose to enter Earth and experience death by shooting. It is this simple. It is no big deal. If you have learned to overcome fear of death, you will not judge a death situation as bad or wrong. If you have not yet overcome your fear of death, you do not see the situation as a good one for you. You will see death through the eyes of fear. Fear is just as dangerous in our beliefs as death is to your beliefs. So that was just a very short passage that I keep rereading in order to try to internalize it. All right, I'm going to play you a song from the Lego movie, which came out in 2014. It's called Everything is Awesome. This is some crazy remix I found.
In the morning, wide awake for the day, and I say, good morning, it's all over. It's all real, and that's why I feel everything is awesome. Everything is cool and wonderful. Everything is awesome. Everything is awesome. It's good now, unless you buy. And it's mine. That's all okay. And that's why we say everything is awesome. Everything is cool and wonderful. Everything is
I'll stop it there. That's my goal.
Yes, yes, absolutely, yes.
And, we live on Earth, and we have this illusion, and we fear so much. We fear death. We fear other people. The reason you lock your car is not because it's logical. The reason you lock your car is because you have fear of other people. And if other people are just a creation, if other people mirror your beliefs back to you, you have nothing to fear except yourself. So when you fear other people, you're actually fearing yourself. And we go through all this logic, we call it humanity, and all of our logic is really based on fear. The foundation of our society is fear. And that is okay. I'm not even saying society should change. What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to change. I want to be stable enough that my base is not fear. And if other people choose to join me in my same belief, that's good. And if other people don't choose to join me, that's fine. All right. Got a couple of slides. Everything is awesome. All these slides are my beliefs. They are not true. I do not believe we can know universal absolute truth on Earth. Earth is only as real as any book or movie. I try to find what is true for me, but my personal truth will change. If you ask me one day, do I believe in past lives? I'll say yes. If you ask me the next day, I'll say no. My truth changes, and I don't want you to be afraid to change your own truth. Mainstream religions tend to not change. They tend to say, we started out with this, and we're going to carry this forward. And they don't allow growth. They don't allow for movement. They don't allow for flexibility. And I think, we enjoy seeing plants grow and trees grow. We enjoy seeing change. But when it comes to spirituality, I think change, we need more change. Do not be afraid to change. My one overall belief is we have all the same source, which is God. We all left God, and we are all returning to God. Yes. Some people call the returning to God as ascension, because we're going up. And my joke about ascension is this is a men and women joke. Men tend to be taller than women, so men are closer to God than women. So I don't make the facts, but
That's good.
So once you start talking about logic, you can twist logic in all wonderful ways. Humans are mammals, dolphins are mammals, all humans are dolphins. So don't trust logic as much as you think you should. Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you do not understand it yourself. Avoid any spiritual beliefs or practices that are overly complicated. The ego mind enjoys mastering and learning complex systems that mean nothing. So, this is all my opinions. Take it to heart if it feels good. If you think this is too complicated, don't take it to heart. So who is God? Everybody has a slightly different version of God, which is fine. I believe God is another name for all things. I believe nothing exists outside of God. When I say previously that we left God, what I really mean is we thought we left God, since our beliefs create our reality. God is just another name for love, light, energy, all that is, or Patrick. The name is not important. Somebody may use the word light, somebody may use the word energy, but God is all things. So whatever you call God is correct. God is a highly charged word, but I do not want you to be afraid of the word God. God is only a word and made up of 3 letters. And why should we be afraid of any word? I could include any cuss word here, and I do not want you to be afraid of anything. I don't want you to be afraid of debt. I don't want you to be afraid of death. I don't want you to be afraid of illness. I don't want you to be afraid of homelessness. I do not want you to be afraid of anything, because in a way, fear is the most challenging thing. And I do not want you to be afraid of the word God. Even though in many past lives you may have been killed because you believed in one God and somebody else believed in a different God. All right, let's talk about the famous law of attraction. Every time you speak, you have to talk about the law of attraction. That is the one rule we have at Cosmic Church. All right, law of attraction. Like attracts like. What you focus on, you receive more of. Dangling preposition. Whatever you think about, the universe says yes and will give you more of the same thought. In this society, we are taught to think hard about our problems so we can solve our problems and be happy. Thinking hard does not work well because if you think hard about your problems, the universe will give you more problems to think about. You know, we are thought to overly use our brain. And I think when you have a problem, you should think about it lightly. You know, you don't think about it for an hour. Maybe think about it for 5 minutes. Try to just, it's like putting your hand in water. Barely put your hand in water. Yes, you try to solve your problem, but you don't really want to think about it, because if you think about your problems 24 hours a day, the universe will give you more problems. So it's hard to think about it some without going in the deep end, without plunging. How you create your life. All parts of your life are created by your thoughts, or created through your thoughts. There should be an R in there. All parts of your life are created through your thoughts. All of the people and events in your external world are first created in your internal world, your mind. And what I mean by this is, if I see angry people in my outside world, that means I have angry thoughts in my mind. And the external world is nothing more than a TV set of what is plugged into my mind. Loving and kind internal thoughts create a loving and kind external world. Fearful and angry internal thoughts create a fearful and angry external world. Every thought in your mind creates, no exceptions. This one I believe, but it's hard to practice it 24/7 because we are taught that your thoughts are random. You don't have to control it. If I have random thoughts, my world will be a random creation. If my thoughts are meaningless, I create a meaningless world. Which is okay, but it's probably not where you want to stay at. You probably want to move from that position. How to have more positive thoughts and less negative thoughts. Realize that this reality on earth is not one final true reality. This reality is just one among millions. Earth is a learning center designed to help you release all negative thoughts by showing you the destructive power of your negative thoughts. If you're feeling bad, it's because of your negative thoughts. Since Earth shows separation, understand that all separation is an illusion. Everyone is God. The separation thing is hard because we're used to acting as a separate person, as an individual. I have a social security, I have an age, I have a birthday, I have a car, I have a house. It's all separation. And it's very hard to see that all separation is an illusion. In a way, there's only one truth. And that one truth is there's no separation. In this game we play of separation, it's fine. It's fine to play. But anytime you play the game of separation, you'll always get the negative side effects of anger, death, depression, hatred. Separation leads you to all the negative emotions. The more that you can see that all separation is illusion, I believe that inches you back to the more positive emotions. Understand that all anger is misplaced. If you're angry for somebody out there, if you're angry out there at someone, what that really means is that you are angry at yourself. I get angry at people, and I used to have a bigger problem with anger than I do now. they were working on my street about 6 months ago. They dug up the whole street. So a street that was paved with regular pavement was all dirt. So when it rained, it was really bad. I'm like, you guys are nuts. So I walked down the street and yelled at the guy. And he's like, oh, it's not my problem, it's their fault. So I walked down the street to where they were at and yelled at them. The guy actually said, I'm not in charge and they're not in charge, I just wanted to get you away from me. You know, as in, he didn't want to deal with my anger. But what I didn't realize at the time, if I'm angry for somebody out there, I'm really angry at myself. So it is hard to see that the external world is you also, because there is no separation. All right, let's play the song, Everything Is Not Awesome. Because, you know, life can be hard. And it seems like, I hate to close anything. This is 3 minutes.
Everything's not awesome. Everything's not cool. I'm so depressed.
I'm sorry. When they sing the song in the movie, they're in a child's toy box being locked in the closet. So they are toys not being played with.
Everything's not awesome.
Whoa, I think I finally get Radiohead.
Bro, you should check out Elliott Smith.
What's the point? There's no hope. Awesomeness was a pipe dream.
My spirits be at the bottom of the sea. That's not real, I just wanna eat carbs past the ice cream.
To think we could just use the emotional voice with.
Stop. Everyone, okay, just listen.
Everything's not awesome. But that doesn't mean that it's hopeless and bleak. Everything's not awesome. In my heart, I believe. We can make things better if we stick together. Stick together. Side by side, you and I, we will be together.
That Lego movie.
I know on the outside, the Lego movie doesn't seem spiritual. Kind of depends on the context. All right, what is non-duality? I asked Spirit to give me the simplest illustration for non-duality. And first, non-duality is a very clunky word. Let's talk about duality. Duality is simple. There's two boxes, good and bad. So when something good happens, we get our paycheck, we get pay increase. You put that in the good box. Something good happens. You have a birthday come and your friends give you presents. That's good. And then you go to the doctor. They're going, hey, you have high blood pressure. You're going, oh, that goes in the bad box. That's bad. Oh, you get in a car accident. Somebody rear ends you. That's bad. So the simple version is duality has two boxes. Non-duality has one box. You get in a car accident. Oh, you put it in the box. You get presents from your friends. You put that in a box. You win $1 million. You put it in the box. And the box you can call anything you want. The box you can call good. So I can say that famine is good. I can say that murder is good. I can say that me being diagnosed with an illness is good because there's only one box. The box is really just is. The box accepts reality how it is right now without judgment. So for convenience, because I'm a human living in a language that I have to speak, I call the one box good. Even though in duality you have a good and bad box, non-duality only has one box. Because, and whatever you call that box is fine. I call that one box good. Everything is good. My friend Pam had a stroke. That was good. And I don't mean that badly. I just mean if I believe in a law of attraction, you get what you receive. If I believe in two boxes, good and bad, the universe will give me things to put in both boxes. The universe will give me good things, and the universe will give me bad things. If I believe in non-duality with one box, the universe will give me things to put in the one box. So everything is whatever you call the one box. And I call the one box good. So everything I receive is good. Everything that happens in this reality is good. Even when it doesn't seem good, even when it's challenging, even if your heart breaks, you're going, I can believe in two boxes, but I believed in two boxes my whole life, and it hasn't helped me so far. You know, I keep getting good things and bad things. I try to get more good things than bad things, hoping that will make me happy. But if I change to one box, I say, I'm going to do my best no matter what. I'm going to feel the same way when everything is awesome. I'm going to feel the same way when everything's not awesome. Because I only have one box. So that is the simplest version of duality versus non-duality I've ever heard.
I like it. And feeling gratitude for everything that goes into that box.
Screw that. But that's the goal. The goal is to be grateful for everything. Everything is just an experience. Experience is neither positive or negative. So the more we can be grateful for every experience, the more we can let it go. Let's say the doctor diagnoses me with an illness. If I can be grateful for the experience, I'm not blocking the disease. I'm not saying no to reality. I'm accepting reality. The easiest way to change reality is by accepting reality. The hardest way to change reality is to say, no, that sucks. I'm going to push as hard as I can and hit my wall, hit my head against the wall as hard as I can and cave in the wall. The easiest way to say, there is a wall, I choose to go around it, reality is not broken. So yes, being grateful for as much as you can. I try to be grateful for every experience. I'm not there yet. All separation is an illusion, a very convincing illusion, but an illusion nonetheless. Everyone is equal. Everyone who has ever walked on the face of this earth is equal in all ways. My two famous people are Jesus and Hitler. You know, they're really the same. And I like saying that in church because I'm a hypocrite. But, you know, in non-duality, everybody's the same. Everybody's equal. I don't have to say that person knows more than me. That person is wealthier than me. I don't have to rank myself according to other people. I can just be myself. The ego enjoys comparing yourself to other people. The ego enjoys judgment. No belief is wrong, but if you believe in duality, you get to experience duality, and duality always involves good things and bad things. All suffering and pain are a result of the belief in separation and duality, with an extra U. Whew. All right, I found this on YouTube. This is a story called The Egg. It is a story by Andy, because there should be a D in there, Wire. He is still living. He is 53 years old. It is a metaphysical story with some metaphysical concepts, not the whole thing. It starts out with death, which death tends to be sorrowful and bad, but don't let that deter you. So this is 8 minutes.
You were on your way home when you died. It was a car accident. Nothing particularly remarkable, but fatal nonetheless. It was a painless death. The medics tried their best to save you, but to no avail. Your body was so utterly shattered, you were better off, trust me. And that's when you met me. What happened? Where am I? You died, I said, matter-of-factly. No point in mincing words. There was a truck, and it was skidding. Yes. I died. Yes. But don't feel bad about it. Everyone dies. You looked around. There was nothingness. Just you and me. What is this place? Is this the afterlife? More or less. Are you God? Yes, I'm God. My kids? My wife? What about them? Will they be all right? That's what I like to see, I said. You just died and your main concern is for your family. That's good stuff right there. You looked at me with fascination. To you, I didn't look like God. I just looked like some man, or possibly a woman. Some vague authority figure, maybe.
A little over a decade ago, Tony got fired. According to Tony, he didn't.
Thank you, YouTube.
His motivation wouldn't be enough to convince your mind to walk.
Don't worry, I said. They'll be fine. Your kids will remember you as perfect in every way. They didn't have time to grow contemptuous of you. Your wife will cry on the outside, but will be secretly relieved. To be fair, your marriage was falling apart. If it's any consolation, she'll feel very guilty for feeling relieved. Oh, so what happens now? Do I go to heaven, or hell or something? Neither. You'll be reincarnated. Ah. So the Hindus were right. All religions are right in their own way. Walk with me. You followed along as we strode through the void. Where are we going? Nowhere in particular. It's just nice to walk while we talk. So, what's the point then? When I get reborn, I'll just be a blank slate, right? The baby. So, all my experiences and everything I did in this life won't matter. Not so. You have within you all the knowledge and experiences of all your past lives. You just don't remember them right now. I stopped walking and took you by the shoulders. Your soul is more magnificent, beautiful, and gigantic than you can possibly imagine. A human mind can only contain a tiny fraction of what you are. It's like sticking your finger in a glass of water to see if it's hot or cold. You put a tiny part of yourself into the vessel, and when you bring it back out, you've gained all the experiences it had. You've been in a human for the last 48 years, so you haven't stretched out yet and felt the rest of your immense consciousness. If we hung out here for long enough, you'd start remembering everything. But there's no point to doing that between each life. How many times have I been reincarnated then? Oh, lots. Lots and lots. And into lots of different lives. This time around, you'll be a Chinese peasant girl in 540 AD. Wait, what? You're sending me back in time? Well, I guess technically, time as you know it only exists in your universe. Things are different where I come from. Where you come from? Oh, sure. I come from somewhere else. And there are others like me. I know you'll want to know what it's like there, but honestly, you wouldn't understand. Oh, you said, a little let down. But wait, if I get reincarnated to other places in time, I could have interacted with myself at some point. Sure, happens all the time. And with both lives only aware of their own lifespan, you don't even know it's happening. So, what's the point of it all? I looked you in the eye. The meaning of life, the reason I made this whole universe, is for you to mature. You mean mankind? You want us to mature? No, just you. I made this whole universe for you. With each new life, you grow and mature and become a larger and greater intellect. Just me? What about everyone else? There is no one else. In this universe, there's just you and me. You stared blankly at me. But all the people on Earth, all you, different incarnations of you. Wait, I'm everyone. Now you're getting it. I'm every human being who ever lived. Or who will ever live. Yes. I'm Abraham Lincoln. And you're John Wilkes Booth too. I'm Hitler, you said, appalled. And you're the millions he killed. I'm Jesus. And you're everyone who followed him. You fell silent. Every time you victimized someone, you were victimizing yourself. Every act of kindness you've done to yourself. Every happy and sad moment ever experienced by any human was or will be experienced by you. You thought for a long time. Why? Why do all this? Because someday you will become like me. Because that's what you are. You're one of my kind. You're my child. Wow, you said incredulous. You mean I'm a god? No, not yet. You're a fetus. You're still growing. Once you've lived every human life throughout all time, you will have grown enough to be born. So the whole universe, it's just an egg, I answered. Now it's time for you to move on to your next life. And I sent you on your way.
So obviously there's a lot of positiveness in there. I'm everybody is a pretty hard concept that most people would have a hard time understanding. And even I do too. Whew, man. In duality, we often have, it's called many things. This calls it the drama triangle. Persecutor, rescuer, victim. Say, I lock my car so I do not become a victim. Persecutor is the bad guy. You know, the person trying to break into my car is the persecutor. The persecutor is, you know, the person at work who gets angry at me for no reason. And then the rescuer, I watch a lot of superhero movies. The victim in superhero movies is the ordinary guy. The persecutor is the supervillain, and the rescuer is the superhero. And when you have the drama triangle, it makes for good movies, but it makes for bad life. Because you're seeing people from different points of view. The victim is victimized, the persecutor has power over the victim, the rescuer has power over the persecutor and the victim. So you keep going with this triangle over and over and over because you see everybody as unequal. And as long as you live and believe in duality, you experience duality. And in duality, nobody is equal. You can never get to the part where there are no victims, there are no bad guys, there are no superheroes. That's why the traditional church sometimes wants Jesus Christ to come back so he can be the rescuer. He can be better than us all and then to save us all. But as long as you keep believing there's somebody better than you, you're believing that somebody is worse than you. So it sucks all around to be in duality. If you can imagine God to be a line on a piece of paper, the farther we move from that line, the more disease, pain, and suffering we experience. And duality is the idea of separation, so we get to experience that separation. Anytime we believe in duality, you get pain, disease, and suffering. What if I told you that there was a spiritual mind training program that has been used by millions of people that help you get closer to God, which helps you to eliminate all disease, pain, and suffering for $10 on Kindle? It is called A Course in Miracles. That's how it's sold. The author is Helen Schuckman, give or take. She published this in 1975 or 76. The internet gives me 2 years. Helen said that the book was dictated to her word for word by a process of inner dictation from Jesus Christ. We would call inner dictation channeling. She calls it inner dictation. The A Course in Miracles consists of 3 parts. The text, which is kind of the rules, the 365 daily lessons, and the teacher's manual. It is a chunky book. The total pages is at least 1,000 pages. So it is big. Oddly enough, it is written in iambic pentameter, the same as Shakespeare. Iambic pentameter is unaccented, accented, and pentameter just means 5. So it is 5 groups of 2. So it's a really odd, interesting book. I got started doing the 365 daily lessons. I'm only on day like 20, but they're really nice and they're really mind-blowing to me. I can sense the change every time I do the daily lessons. And you don't have to, the text is really hard to read. We'll cover a little bit of it, but the 365 daily lessons I consider like the 90%. That's the really nice mind training program. And A Course in Miracles teaches non-duality because everything is you. Course in Miracles is abbreviated ACIM. You can Google ACIM and A Course in Miracles comes up. The 365 daily lessons are about a half a page to a page in length and only require a few minutes of practice 4 times a day for a total of 10 minutes of practice a day. The text is a theoretical foundation. I presume the text helps program the mind while bypassing some of the limitations the mind has in place. The text is supposed to slip in, this is my version, slip in like a virus, but be a beneficial virus. It is hard to get past all the blocks the ego has. The text is pretty long. The text itself, the densest part, is 600 pages long. And if you want to know a sample of the text, this was part that I was reading yesterday. This is, quote, the law of the kingdom. To heal is the only kind of thinking in this world that resembles the thought of God. And because of the elements they share, can easily transfer it. These commas are horrible. To heal is the only kind of thinking in this world that resembles the thought of God. because of the elements they share, they can transfer easily to it. When a brother perceives himself as sick, he is perceiving himself not as whole and therefore in need. If you too see him this way, you are seeing him as if he were absent from the kingdom or separated from it, thus making the kingdom itself obscure to both of you. Sickness and separation are not of God, but the kingdom is. If you obscure the kingdom, you are perceiving what is not of God. So when I said the text itself is challenging to perceive, it is hard to perceive. You know, I get the idea of it. You try to see somebody else as whole, even when they see themselves as sick. So it's challenging. I can't tell you that I understand it, but cross your fingers. I hope it's doing something. So I want to do a brief overview. Relationships. Every person you meet, and this is a summary of some of the principles of A Course in Miracles. Every person we meet acts as a mirror, reflecting back to us the parts of our own mind, either our hidden guilt or our inherent life that we haven't yet fully acknowledged. Instead of using relationships to seek completion from another person, we use them to practice some word, to overlook errors and recognize the shared identity we have with everyone. The workbook is designed to help you move from fear and judgment to love and unity. Each of the daily exercises helps you have an actual experience. The most interesting part, it says, is it values consistency over intensity. A Course in Miracles emphasizes doing the lessons exactly as described without the needing to believe them first. So that's why it kind of calls it a mind training program. It's kind of like if you exercise, your muscles are going to get bigger. You don't have to believe it, you just have to do it. I'll go over the slide of ego, and it'll probably be our last slide for today. That ego is not a physical entity, but a belief system rooted in the idea that we are successfully separated from God. To sustain itself, the ego must project guilt onto others through judgment, ensuring that the mind remains focused on sin and error rather than the truth of love. The ego promises happiness only in the future. The ego can never be happy now because the ego is oriented to the past and to the future. The ego can never be in the present. The ego does not want you to look inside for peace, and it will generate events in your outside world to distract your attention. These events will be important, intense, and chaotic. I'll go back to the drama triangle. You'll see yourself as the victim, or you'll see yourself as the perpetrator or accidental perpetrator, as in you accidentally offend somebody. And then you may see yourself as the savior, as in I have all the answers in the world. If everybody would just follow me and my stupid presentation, there would be less suffering in the world. So when you can let go of the identity that other people need to be saved, you can see everybody as equal. I don't know if anybody has any short questions. I'm going to wrap it up there for today. All right, well, thank you all. Yeah, good audience, everybody.
Thank you. All right. A lot of that was really deep. Sections of that could have been their own service. Joanne, take up offering, please. While Joanne takes up offering, go over the announcements. Get them all in order. Weekday events are at 7 p.m. Second, fourth Monday is Yoga Nidra with Daniela, which I believe is this week. Yes, tomorrow will be Yoga Nidra. Fourth Tuesday Thursday is normally astrology with Nikki, but she's still out currently. We're also looking for an astrologer. If anybody knows one, can send them my way. Second and fourth Thursdays, we have Spiritual Roundtable, which will also be this week.
Yes, and we're gonna watch, it starts out with a 20-minute Gaia episode, and this one is related to plants. Plants have consciousness. And then after we watch the 20-minute, then we have about an hour and a half time to talk about all these issues and how we've seen them in our lives. The conversations have been fantastic with each class.
First and third Fridays, we have Spiritual Mind Gathering, which was this past Friday. Next Psychic Fair is the 14th, which will be this coming Saturday also. We had a busy week this week. Have raffles still back there, $1 ticket. And board meeting is also Tuesday.
Yes, it's a busy week.
We had the programming Quartz Crystal class last Wednesday. Talked with Christina, and she's going to do these 3 classes again coming up. I've got dates for that proposed. We'll go over that at the board meeting, but she also has more classes that she's introducing. So we'll have her classes Wednesdays or Tuesdays, because Charlie also has Soul Travel coming up in April on Wednesdays, 5-week class.
Yeah, Soul Travel starts in a month. If you sign up for it on the board back there, you get a big discount. It's normally $75 for all 5 sessions, and this will be $60 if you sign up in advance. And if you haven't been there before, Soul Travels, we go places like the Akashic Records, which is fine. You see your own, but you also have the ability to go back there anytime you want. And we go to a healing temple. You'll also be able to experience one time, but then you'll have the pass to do it every time. So it's sort of an ongoing type thing. Just let's make one other announcement. Our friend Pam, who had a stroke about 5 weeks ago, is recovering. She lost use of the right-hand side of her body, got her hand back, getting the legs back. For the next 7 days, at 8 p.m., we're doing remote healing for Pam. 10 minutes only, 8 to 8:10. And the idea is visualizing Pam walking down the aisle and just putting the energy out towards her if you're into the energy. If not, just visualize that happening, and your energy will be automatically added to the group. So I appreciate 7 times, starting tonight, 8 o'clock to 8:10.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear she's doing better. Faye, do you know how Peggy's doing?
No, I haven't talked to Bill or Peggy in 2-3 days. Last time I talked to them, she was still in the hospital.
Okay. All right, and Chrissy is doing better. She's still just trying to fully recover, but she's home and she's doing better. Anything other announcements wise? No? All right, let's cover that. Tim, you want to join us? Yeah. You want to send energy to the basket, please do. God, great spirits, we thank you for this day. Thank you for our speaker and the awesome job he does for us, the amazing messages he brings to us. Please bless this offering. Help us to use it for the betterment of our church and our community. Bring us back at the next appointed time. All these things we ask in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. So it is. All right, let's stand for the great invocation. Sorry, benediction. Very good. From the unreal, lead us to the real. From darkness, lead us to the light. From death, lead us to immortality. And peace throughout the world. Amen. The song was great.
It is a nice song. Hey, nice to see you, Godfrey.
Good, thank you. You did it, you done it.
Hey, thanks.
Do it again.